we leverage in my practice, we leverage technology to bring in CHROs who are largely in the same space of their career, which is
Mhm.
SMB, low infrastructure. And we certainly share a lot of frameworks and here's the way things should be working that no one ever tells you. And we talk about the mandate and we talk about altitude and we talk about an identity crisis. But most importantly, we build a cohort that can connect and that can reach out and help each other. One of the things I figured out again in my first professional toast stop, I was one of the first members of my PepsiCo class that got a top public company CHRO job, which was awesome. Until I figured out that over half that job is something you're completely unprepared for. And I had a wonderful set of network contacts within people who still worked at PepsiCo, none of whom could help me on this. And so I will spend every week at least 30 minutes talking with somebody I don't know and figuring out how I can be helpful to them. Make love connections with people that they need to be a part of, uh, and and create these communities where people can come together in a psychologically safe way, which by the way is not comfortable. Psychological safety is putting an uncomfortable truth on the table and and still feeling like you belong to the ecosystem that you're a part of. And creating those moments where we can help people with that. Because you're absolutely right. Everything that technology is designed for connection is actually leading the opposite direction. And you know, I wish I knew my neighbors better than I do, but I remember it. I'm old enough to remember a time where you actually you had neighbors that were paying attention to what was happening in your life, and you would have shared meals and cul-de-sac barbecues if you had that as an opportunity. And I think we're missing that, especially as we get into this um, this season that we find ourselves in.
Right. Cul-de-sac barbecues, that brings back memories. Like I used to grow up in a cul-de-sac, and we every year everybody
Yeah.
comes out. And what's funny also is because when you mentioned you wish you knew your neighbors a little bit more. I know somebody who's lived in a condo for like 10 years, and then one day somebody opened the door for them at the bottom, and then they go, "Do we know you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I've been your neighbor for like 10 years." But anyway,
Look, I remember back when all the dogs in the neighborhood knew each other.
yeah,
Like that's, I'm not one of those get off my lawn Clint Eastwood guys. But that was actually that was a better time. And today, I think we've lost the obligation to persuade. If
right,
you and I have a disagreement, I'm more likely to think you're evil than you're wrong.
yeah.
And I think most people are well intentioned. They may have bad data sources, or they may not have ever confronted the strength of their own arguments. And if we really want to create that connective tissue, like having provocative, well-intentioned, psychologically safe challenges, it's where we need to go.
How is success like stamps if you're using stamps as a metaphor for success?
Yeah, I think you need to find the way to be successful by taking what you do and imprinting it on something else that is in motion.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like stamps.